What's up YouTube, Arch here, and I'm going to talk about my Pelagos, my Tudor Pelagos. It's super funny. I actually just watched 14 years ago is the only other watch review. I think I did kind of a series of just fucking rants about that Oris back in the day, and so funny. As a matter of fact, that's why only reason why I decided I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wear sunglasses on this one too, just because what a fucking jackass. Which brings me to another funny point, and I was like thinking about it, just being a fucking the story of my life, just being a jackass. I feel like if a person looks back on their life and they're like, don't think like, God, I was a fucking idiot. God, I was wrong. God, I don't know, whatever. If a person looks back at their life and for whatever reason they're like, nailed it, that means you're still a jerk off idiot. Which but also that's the case in this case as well. So yeah, I guess the moral of the story is like, don't take yourself too seriously, and that's what I try to do. Cheers. This is a beer in hand kind of video. So let's talk about the Pelagos. Also, I didn't want to do this with the first person view, but I thought I have to, just because the last video was so dumb, and like now I get to hopefully look at this one in 15 years and be like, you fucking moron. But yeah, so I guess just a little backstory. I got the Pelagos because I was at dinner with some great people at Blade Show in Atlanta this past year, a few months ago, and they were talking watches, and I actually had not at all on my radar, not at all. And my buddy Michael Miller, some of you guys might know Michael, he was like, hey, show Arch your Pelagos to Matt, one of our other buddies and Michael's colleagues, and it was like, they handed me over the Pelagos, and I was just like, fuck, man, like this actually is a very cool watch. Titanium, right up my alley. I didn't really, I knew about Tudor, and I knew they were like kind of what they are, you know, a middle ground luxury watch. But I didn't know they're made by Rolex, and I didn't know that they have in-house movement and stuff. And so they're kind of educating me on the watch. Michael hands me also his Submariner, and I'm kind of, you know, checking them out side by side, and I'm like, you know what, if this is an attainable watch, which they are relatively attainable, I was like, then I'm gonna try one. Made a few phone calls when I got back home and found a distributor with one in stock, and I went and bought it. And that was a few months ago, and I am super, super happy with the watch. As a matter of fact, I've been learning more and more and more about watches and Rolex and Tudor, and so now I'm in the market for a Rolex or two, or maybe even three. I don't even know. Like, and this is because like I was at a Rolex AD yesterday, and we're talking just about finances and stuff, and like I've been fortunate enough to have made some good decisions, and just been in the right place at the right time. Totally fucking luck, to be able to actually have some savings now and some stocks and, you know, Roth IRA and all that kind of shit. And any of you guys who also are in this, and even a little bit of real estate, and it's all fucked. Like everything's taken a shit. So from my perspective, if I can, which I can easily liquidate some finances, I might as well put that at least park that money in a place where I can enjoy it, and not park it in a place where it's fucking losing money like it is now. Super long rant, sorry about that, I guess, but just a little bit of a backstory. I'm gonna try to keep this video not too long. So yeah, I guess the physical characteristics of the watch, I'll kind of not bother you guys with. This video is intended for like some of the people who still follow, you know, my Archman channel, but mainly just the type of person that I am, who, like, if I get interested in something, like, there is not a Submariner video that I've not watched. You know, there is not one Pelagos video that I've not watched, because I will extend myself out into the farthest reaches of learning about stuff. And when I'm totally geeking out. And that's hopefully who you are watching this video. And then other people who just hopefully enjoy my charm and wit. But yeah, when I bought this watch, they had just got in a 39. Literally, he was putting it in the case when I went in there. And so I was able to check out this watch next to a 39 Pelagos and next to a Submariner in person right there at the AD. And this is the watch that I walked away with, despite obviously the 39 being cheaper. And by the time I was leaving, there were 2 people in there who were on the call list for that 39 that were just like fucking buying it, you know. And like, so I bought this watch because it fits me the best, and it's the watch that is going to suit me the best. Obviously, you buy a 39, it's immediately worth more than you paid for it, just like that. And that's not what I was interested in. I was interested in just having a great watch that I'm going to enjoy. Talk about a couple of other aspects of the watch. And for me, the only thing I would change about it really is it doesn't bother me at all. But next to another watch, like say the Submariner or even the 39 Pelagos, like this thickness does end up kind of like it doesn't bother. Again, like I don't necessarily need or feel the desire to change it, but in contrast to those, it's like it would be cool if it was a little bit thinner. Again, it doesn't really matter to me. If I wear long sleeves, they're typically rolled up, so I don't care about any crap that other people might. Oh, the baby's crying. Other people might mention, oh, it doesn't fit under the cuff or whatever it is. Don't care. Couldn't care less. The 39 to me just seemed for like my first, you know, watch up, moving up into the stratosphere of I don't want to use the word invest in watch, but park money in watches and also enjoy a physical thing. It wasn't the right first step. Having said that, if my AD calls me and offers me a 39 before I get offered like a Submariner, I'll take it because it's a cool watch. It's going to be a good place to park money. And it's a good contrast to this watch. It's way flashier, you know, like which you guys would, if you're a watch person and you're watching this video, you know that. A lot of people like jerk off over this clasp. It's not my fave, especially like you put this next to like a glide lock, and it's just not. Even next to the Pelagos 39 clasp, that's a better class. To me, that's a better class than this one. And that's just because this has too much bullshit going on. I don't know if this happened while I was doing the Oris videos or not, but you know, the idea of like a diver extension, like this kind of shit, look at all the flimsy fucking, sorry, it's not gonna focus, but look at all the, that's just way too much going on. I actually broke, hopefully this one is a little bit more sturdy than the Oris one. I mean, this is just a leagues above Oris. They had, I was at the AD I was at yesterday had Oris watches, and I mean, you don't even have to take it out of the case. Like, I mean, this is light years nicer. Anyway, I broke my diver extension. I to be honest with you, I don't even remember what happened. It was a pin. It was not like one of the link parts, but it was like a pin that broke. And I was able to take it just to a random jeweler in Salida, Colorado, and basically have them rivet that shit back together, and it was like good as new. But what I'm getting at here is diver extensions are totally bullshit. Like, I don't think there's a diver who's gonna take that seriously. They're gonna use some kind of rubber strap, NATO strap, that's gonna be a dedicated extension to be able to use. They're gonna use a separate watch probably even. You know what I mean? They're not anyway, I don't like that. Shouldn't be on a watch like this. It's a fucking bullshit thing. Same goes to me, in my opinion, with this whole spring shit that's on here that people like, you know, jack off over. It's fucking bullshit. It's a gimmick. Doesn't do any. I mean, like, maybe I could see that would be a better thing than a diver extension. Just as far as I can tell, without obviously taking this thing apart. But again, though, it gives some, it leaves a lot to be desired for me. Like, there's no way that that's like that durable of a system. I think all that shit should just be left out and keep it a tool watch. It's just all that shit's gimmicky. You know, also just this whole thing, you know what I mean? Like, you look at this next to like the Submariner, for example, and it just leaves a lot to be desired. It's thin, it's, you know, little pins. It's just not the best. Like, people who love this clasp are just, like, in my opinion, not paying attention. Now, that said, it comes with the watch, you know, so like it you know, it's as good as you're gonna get for this watch, I think. I do love the oyster style bracelet. I think this is the best looking bracelet, most durable, seemingly most durable bracelet. It's minimal, it's nice looking, it hides scratches relatively well. It's not focused, it's not gonna focus on here, but you know, this has been my, I have not taken this off my wrist. I've been even like showering, sleeping with this, because I'm unfortunate enough that I'm self-employed. I'm relatively responsible. I do not need to set alarms. I have a newborn baby that's going to wake me up. So this is my only timepiece. You know, or before this, my Apple Watch Ultra. You know, I also have like a G-Shock and Luminox and a couple of Seikos and a Bulova, like an old Bulova from like the 1920s. That's pretty cool. What else? What should I say here? Oh, gimmicks. Let's go with gimmicks. This clasp is a gimmick, in my opinion. Yeah. Let's talk about grade 2 versus grade 5 titanium. So a lot of guys watching this video will know, but also a lot won't. This is my company's logo, Nice Guy Machine Company. I call this the Be No One, and it's the shape of one of my beads that I make. So I machine titanium. This is one of the things that I make, and this is the logo, this bead here. I have not to blow my own horn, but it just is a fact. Very, very few people have more experience with machining, shaping, and doing a good job at making things out of titanium than I do. And I've used a lot of grade 2, mostly grade 5. And in my opinion, it's like people will say, oh, grade 2 is like less than grade 5. It is, but like the only thing you're gonna really notice, and people will say, oh, it scratches more. Nah, not necessarily. I mean, maybe if you really go into it, it would make some difference, but not that big of a difference. When you scratch titanium, what's going on is titanium immediately gets an oxide layer on it from the atmospheric conditions, oxygen, nitrogen, the gases that are in the atmosphere. And what's happening is you're actually just removing a little bit of that oxidation, and so you're gonna have a really visible scratch, a much brighter finish than the more gray tones that you have with the oxidation. There's an Amazon delivery going on next door, and that's why you see it. And that also is why it's gonna relatively kind of disappear pretty fast. And you don't really have that with stainless steel. Stainless steel doesn't have that kind of like self-healing kind of attribute. And that's gonna happen regardless of whether it's grade 5 or grade 2. Grade 5 is an alloy that has like vanadium and aluminum and different things in it to make it a little bit, really the only difference and the reason that grade 5 exists is like for structural components such as like tubular steel, like a bicycle frame or something. That's really the only place where it's gonna make a difference. Something like that's an ingot, like a watch, it's just not gonna make that big of a difference. And the only reason that there's grade 2 and grade 5, from my perspective at least, is to be able to have a differentiating reason to buy like a more expensive watch. So, oh, it's grade 5. It doesn't make a difference. It is on paper it's an upgrade, but it's in real life you're not going to see any difference in something like this. Now, if you're talking about a bicycle frame or something like that, night and day difference. Or like a race car or something like that, you would see poor results out of grade 2 versus grade 5. But you would see like more dampening, like say like shock absorbing. So if that was an attribute you wanted. But grade 5 is going to flex instead of bend. Grade 2 is going to bend. Again, that's too long. But basically, the only from my point of view, as far as I can tell, that is a gimmick. They're making the lesser watches out of grade 2 just to be able to upsell you on a grade 5 watch, like the RLX titanium, such as is going to be in the new Yachtmaster 42 from Rolex, and you know, so that's what it is. I left my adjustment. Now that said, this adjustment system is awesome, and it's very much like the glide lock. The one thing that I would say from my perspective that's going to just like make the glide lock really blow away this system is that the glide lock uses no springs. It's just a detent, right? Where this is totally relying on a little spring to hold it into place. So I don't know if you can see, there's kind of those notches machined into the backside, and then corresponding on this side is kind of a fin that sticks out that goes up into those notches. And what makes it go into those notches is a spring, where on the glide lock, it actually pops up into a detent. And that is a major upgrade. So no finicky little bullshit spring. You have like solid parts that are going on. Here's another little gimmicky thing that's on this. This is like a, I'm fucking it up. It's like a zirconia kind of material. This white ball here, that's a gimmick. That's not doing anything for you. And I'll tell you why. The reason is because that is super, super hard, like Rockwell 90 or something like that. Really, really hard. And I'm not sure if this is a really stainless, non-magnetic stainless steel, or if this is titanium or what it is. Doesn't matter. This is going to be Rockwell like 40 or something like that. This is Rockwell 90. And what you need when you have two surfaces rubbing against each other is similar Rockwell hardness. And that negates wear. If the two surfaces rubbing on each other have the same Rockwell hardness, you're going to see much less wear. So that could be anything. They could both be 40. They could both be 90. They could be 60 and 55 or whatever it is. But that's what you want. And this right here, what's going to happen is eventually, over lots of openings and closings, this very hard ball is going to wear a groove into the much softer metal. And eventually that groove is going to be so deep that it'll be the same depth as the detent in there, and you're not gonna have a detent anymore. So this is not good. It's a gimmick. What you see on like a Rolex is gonna be a stainless steel ball, which would theoretically, because it's a real fine point that the very tip of that ball is rubbing, very fine point, but it's actually gonna flatten down, which will wear the less and less of a groove into the side here. It's just going to last longer. And then in the end, the component that wears out more is going to be that ball, which is replaceable, as opposed to like this part of the clasp, which, hey, they might want you to buy an entire clasp, you know, in that case. Anyway, so I just wanted to say that. A lot of people are like, oh, the ceramic ball, or, you know, oh, the you know, whatever the fuck the ball is. No, it's a gimmick. It's not good. It's the opposite of good. It's going to work. It's going to be fine, but that is going to have a much shorter life than two friction surface bearing surfaces that have the similar Rockwell hardness. You know, I guess I'll spare some of the other stuff. Oh, you know what? I'm just not a watch guy, so I'm gonna be like, the shit over here that's on this shit and against that shit. The way that everything fits together is absolutely top notch. I actually bought one of the clear blue straps for this just to try it out. Didn't like it at all. Ended up returning it. But so I have taken the band off of this and put on another band. And I gotta say, like, the way that, I forget the term for this piece here, but the way that this all fits together is fucking real good. Like, I mean, the fit and finish on this is fantastic. One thing that I will say on that note is the surface behind, in between the lugs up against the case there, is completely unfinished. It is like fucking water jet finish. It's not even EDM, which is kind of, I'm surprised they're not using the EDM. It's like wavy, shitty finish under there. Pretty shocking. And I think my baby is melting down, so we're gonna go ahead and nip this video in the bud. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if you guys have some good questions. This will be like a post and ghost kind of video, guys. This is just give information that, you know, other people might not have, add a different perspective just for fun. I will not be responding to comments, but you guys feel free to go into the most elaborate fuck you matches with each other possible. That definitely helps. Don't give a shit if you like the video. Don't give a shit if you subscribe. It's just for fun. Palabra tu madre.